My friend, there are some women who walk into a room and suddenly the entire space lights up. But then there are others women whose true light only becomes clear when they walk away. At first, it might sound harsh, but no, this isn't about bitterness. This isn't about blaming anyone. This is a story of awakening, a lesson in sharp perception that every seasoned man must learn to master. Because not every smile aimed at you is genuine. Not every hand that reaches out truly intends to hold you for the long run. Life is far too short to waste your time, your energy, and your peace of mind on women who cloud your judgment, fill your heart with doubt, and leave you constantly asking, is it my fault? Especially those women who hide behind charm, elegance, and honey-sweet words. But deep inside, there's a quiet storm waiting for the perfect moment to pull you under. Today, I will walk you through the 7 unmistakable signs of a toxic woman. A woman who, if you fail to recognize her early, will slowly erode your peace of mind and drain the inner strength you've built. This is not about judgment. This is not about hate. This is about clarity, about protecting your sanity, about knowing who truly deserves a seat at the table of your life and who only shows up to snatch the last piece of bread from your plate. As Marcus Aurelius once wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And I will add this, the happiness of your life also depends upon the quality of the people you choose to keep close. So make sure you are not just living, but living with awareness. And if you value this clarity, do me a favor, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel right now. Not only will it help me continue sharing life-changing lessons like this one, but it will also ensure you never miss a single strategy on your journey to mastering yourself and your life. Are you ready? Let's begin. Sign 1. She always plays the victim. Let's start with the very first sign. Listen carefully, because this is one of the most deceptive traps, one that even the strongest of men can fall into without even realizing it. You won't see it through outbursts of anger. No, it's much subtler than that. You'll notice it in the carefully crafted stories she tells. Stories that seem harmless at first glance. When you sit across from her, it feels like you've opened a door into her soul. She shares her wounds, the people who've hurt her, the painful relationships from her past, the jealous co-workers, the unfair family members. And in every story, there's a familiar script. She is the victim. Everyone has turned their back on her. No one was good enough to understand her. And if you're a genuine man, a man of kindness and compassion, you will feel an overwhelming urge to become her savior. You will think to yourself, maybe if I just treat her better than all the others, things will be different. But here's the hook. And make no mistake, this is the hidden bait you didn't see coming. At first, you offer her comfort. Then you start giving your time, your patience. Eventually, even your inner peace, piece by piece, slipping through your fingers. Because you didn't realize something critical. She doesn't want healing. She wants to keep the role of the victim as a weapon to control every relationship in her life. Let me tell you about Tom. A good man I once knew. He was steady, grounded, a man who had just come out of a painful divorce. Then he met her, an enchanting woman, and to be honest, a masterful storyteller of her own sorrows. She told Tom about her unfaithful ex-husband, about her jealous boss, about her family always favoring her sister over her. At first, Tom admired her resilience. He admired how she seemed to overcome so many injustices. But as time passed, Tom came to a harsh realization. The stories never ended. They repeated themselves in a relentless loop. And in every new chapter, she was always the victim. Here's where it gets dangerous. Tom found himself cast into a role he never signed up for. Either he became the exhausted hero, always lifting her spirits, or he became the villain, the betrayer, whenever he dared to offer honest feedback or refused her unreasonable demands. She would twist every situation, bend every moment to maintain her status as the eternal victim. And here's what you must remember deeply. A woman like this isn't searching for true healing. She's seeking power through her tales of pain. If you allow yourself to be drawn into this play, sooner or later, you'll become just another chapter in her never-ending tragedy. Remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius: you have power over your mind, not outside events. The woman who constantly sees herself as the victim has surrendered that power. She's handed her emotions over to circumstances and demands that you bear the burden of her storms. So, what's the solution? You must stop. Stop playing the hero. Stop trying to heal someone who has no intention of healing themselves. Keep your mind calm. Draw clear boundaries and observe closely. If you notice that her story never changes, that she is always the one who suffers, and you are always the one expected to fix it, it's time to step back. Not in anger, not in hatred, but with full awareness. Because you deserve peace. Because you are not born to be an actor in someone else's endless tragedy. And always remember, peace is the ultimate power of a Stoic man. Sign 2. She is addicted to drama and conflict. Now I want you to pay very close attention here, because this sign doesn't scream at you from the start. No, it creeps in quietly like a slow-burning wildfire beneath the surface. And by the time you notice, it might already be too late. Listen closely. I'm not talking about the natural bursts of emotion that all of us experience from time to time. Not the moments when life's pressures make anyone feel overwhelmed. No. I'm talking about a woman who treats conflict like oxygen. When life becomes too peaceful, she feels empty. When everything flows smoothly, she feels deeply unsettled, because in her mind, peace is boring. And chaos feels like home. It feels familiar. Oddly, even comforting. She cannot stand the stillness. So when things are too calm, she lights the match herself. It could start with something small. Maybe you replied to her text a few minutes late. Maybe you weren't fully engaged while she was talking. Maybe you had a long day and your energy just wasn't at its usual level. Suddenly, in her eyes, these little things aren't little anymore. They become proof. Proof that you're pulling away. Proof that you no longer care. And just like that, a peaceful evening transforms into a heated argument you never saw coming. You're caught off guard, confused. You wonder, how did things escalate so fast? And that's exactly the point. Because when you're swept up in that emotional storm, she takes control. You see, drama addicts crave attention. The way an addict craves a fix, they need to be the center of the emotional universe. And if the world around them becomes too still, they will stir the waters just to ensure that all eyes, all energy, all reactions remain fixed on them. From a Stoic perspective, this makes perfect sense. This woman isn't searching for truth. She isn't looking for solutions. She seeks power, the power to manipulate the emotions of others. You try to explain. You apologize even though you don't fully understand what you did wrong. You think you're helping calm the storm, but you're not. You're adding fuel to her fire. And the worst part, over time you start to lose yourself. You become tense, always on high alert, living in fear of the next emotional hurricane. You walk on eggshells, terrified that even the slightest misstep will pull you back into the chaos she creates. And when a man loses his inner peace, he loses his greatest power. So what's the solution? It's not to argue. It's not to brace for every incoming storm. The answer is distance, emotional distance. First and foremost, let the waves rise, but do not dive in to rescue her. Be the rock in the middle of the raging river. Watch the storm unfold, but do not become a part of it. As Epictetus taught us, we cannot control others. We can only control our response. You are not obligated to play a role in her drama. Your role is to remain the calm, grounded man. Above all, the free man. Because when you hold on to your calm, you hold on to the greatest power in any relationship. The power not to be pulled into someone else's emotional storm. And if you find yourself trapped in this endless cycle of drama, don't hesitate to step away. Not out of hatred, not out of a desire to win or to lose, but because you cherish your inner peace more than anything else in this world. Remember this, chaos is where she feels most at home, but peace is where you discover your ultimate strength. Sign 3. She controls you through guilt. I want you to remember this one deeply because this is one of the most subtle yet most powerful forms of control. You won't notice it immediately, but once you're caught in it, escaping becomes painfully difficult. At first, everything seems so reasonable. Maybe it's just a sad look when you tell her you're busy with work. Maybe it's that uncomfortable silence when you simply want a little time for yourself. There are no direct criticisms, no harsh accusations, just small, subtle signals that spark a quiet voice in your mind whispering, maybe I've let her down. And so you begin to adjust. You cancel plans with friends just to be with her. You turn down career opportunities, fearing she'll feel abandoned. You sacrifice your personal time, your hobbies, the very things that make you who you are, all to soothe that disappointed gaze. But do you know what's most dangerous? The more you give in, the more you lose yourself. You stop living by your own values and logic. You start living to avoid the guilt she so skillfully plants in your mind. And she knows this. She doesn't even have to say a word. A quiet sigh is enough to make you worry. A glance away is enough to leave you restless. Slowly, she turns your guilt into a lever of control. It's a quiet power, but it's devastatingly effective. No shouting, no force, just a constant drip feed of fear that you are never enough. You are no longer a free man. You have become a prisoner within your own relationship. Stoic philosophy teaches us this sharp truth. No man is truly free unless he masters himself. And when you let guilt dictate your actions, you've already handed over the keys to your freedom. Worse still, the more she senses your vulnerability to guilt, the more she will push the boundaries. What began as small requests will grow into larger sacrifices, until one day you no longer even recognize where your boundaries used to be. So what is the solution? It's not a heated confrontation. It's not about arguing to prove you're right. The solution is awareness. You must spot this invisible trap before it tightens around you. Ask yourself this simple question. Am I doing this because it aligns with my values or just to avoid feeling guilty? If the answer is the latter, it's time to stop. Set clear, firm boundaries. Act from your principles, not from fear of silent disapproval. Remember this, you give what you choose to give, not because you fear losing some illusion of love, but because it reflects the man you choose to become. And when she tries to pull you back with her old tactics, the sorrowful looks, the cold, punishing silence, stand your ground. Do not waver. Do not let guilt invade your mind again, because a man who masters himself is never controlled by someone else's manufactured emotions. You can give love, but you do not give away control of your life. Never forget this. True love is given freely. It is never a transaction built on an artificial guilt. Sign 4. She lacks empathy. You will notice this most clearly, not when life is smooth, but when life tests you. When you face hardships, when life slaps you hard across the face, when all you need is not someone to fix your problems, but simply someone to stand beside you, to listen in silence and to let you know, without words, that you are not alone. A truly empathetic woman doesn't need to say much. Sometimes all it takes is a gentle look, a firm squeeze of your hand, and you understand, I am not alone in this. But a woman who lacks empathy, she is very different. You tell her about your stressful day at work, and she barely lifts her eyes from her phone. She nods absent-mindedly, then quickly shifts the conversation back to herself. You open up about your losses, your regrets that keep you awake at night, and she doesn't even pause long enough to hear you out completely. She steers the conversation to where it benefits her, because deep down, she does not truly care. Or worse, she lacks the emotional depth to walk beside you through the storms of life. And you will feel this very clearly. The coldness in her soul cannot be warmed by your sincerity. Slowly, you'll come to realize being with her feels lonelier than being alone. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius: stop debating about what it means to be a good man. Be one. And let me add to that, stop wasting your time expecting empathy from someone who is simply incapable of giving it. So what's the solution? It's simple, but far from easy. Do not try to teach someone how to feel empathy. Do not wait for a miracle from a heart that has already frozen over. Instead, choose a woman of true depth. Choose someone who is ready to walk beside you through your darkest days, because life is already hard enough. You do not need the added weight of coldness beside you. Protect your soul as fiercely as you protect your very life. Sign 5. She is obsessed with superficial things. At first, you might think, well, doesn't everyone like beautiful things? And you'd be right. Everyone appreciates beauty, success, and a touch of luxury. But here's the difference. She doesn't just appreciate these things. She lives for them. To her, self-worth doesn't come from within. It doesn't come from her soul or her character. It comes from the logo on her handbag, the brand stamped on her shoes, the number of likes on her social media posts, and most importantly, from what you can provide to maintain that image for her. Do you know what the most dangerous part is? Slowly, you start to feel less like a life partner and more like a sponsor. Less like a man she cherishes and more like an accessory she flaunts to elevate her status in the eyes of others. She doesn't care if you're exhausting yourself just to maintain this material lifestyle. All she cares about is stepping out into the world and soaking in the admiration of strangers. And the worst part? This obsession never ends. Today it's a new designer bag. Tomorrow it's a more extravagant vacation. Then it's a luxury car, a bigger house. With her, there is always another rung to climb. And no matter how hard you try, you will always feel like you are never enough. Remember the wisdom of Epictetus. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. But for her, it's the opposite. The more she has, the more she craves. And in this endless race, the one who ends up drained, both financially and emotionally, is you. The most painful part, no matter how much you give, she will never truly see the man you are inside. Because in her eyes, your value lies only in what you can display to the world. So what's the solution? It's not about trying harder to please her. It's not about fighting to keep her satisfied. The solution is to step away from this game before you are completely consumed. Choose a woman who sees your true worth in the simplest moments, in the most ordinary things. A woman who does not need you to prove your value through material wealth, but who treasures you for your dignity, for your character, and for your sincere heart. Life is already demanding enough. You deserve peace, not an exhausting race to fulfill endless superficial desires. Remember this, a woman obsessed with the superficial will never know contentment, and you will never find peace by her side. Sign 6. She never admits when she's wrong. This one is more subtle than you might think, but once you see it, it flashes like a blinding red warning light. She never admits she's wrong. Never. You can lay out the most reasonable argument. You can present undeniable evidence. You can explain everything so clearly, even a child would understand. And yet she will twist everything to make herself right. And if she can't win with logic, she will switch to emotional warfare. Suddenly, the issue is no longer about the original problem. It becomes, you're hurting me. You're always criticizing me. You never understand me. Do you see what's happening? The truth is buried beneath layers of emotion and excessive defensiveness. She's not looking for the truth. She's looking to protect her fragile ego at any cost. Because to her, admitting fault equals weakness. It means being overpowered. It means exposing vulnerability, and for her, that is simply unacceptable. But I want you to understand this at a deeper level. The issue here isn't just stubbornness. It runs much deeper. It's a sign of a soul that refuses to grow. A person who never admits wrong is trapped inside the shell of their own pride. They learn nothing from life's lessons. They reject inner evolution. You'll notice a painful paradox. The more patient you are in explaining, the more defensive she becomes. The gentler you try to resolve things, the more she perceives it as an attack. And after every one of these exhausting encounters, it's not her who feels drained. It's you. You become worn out from always having to be the one to step back first. You grow disheartened because every attempt at honest communication is twisted into a needless battle. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, "If someone can prove me wrong, I'll gladly change, for I seek the truth, not to protect my ego." A woman who never admits fault is someone who refuses truth itself. And when a person rejects truth, they also reject authentic love. So what's the solution? It's not about trying harder to persuade her. It's not about endlessly justifying her silence or defensiveness. The answer lies in choosing a woman who has the courage to admit her imperfections. A woman who understands that saying "I was wrong" is not a defeat, but one of the greatest victories on the path of personal growth. Because true love isn't a contest about who is right or wrong. It's about walking together through imperfections, growing through failures, and understanding each other through life's inevitable collisions. If she never admits her faults, what you need to do is not keep arguing, but to wake up and walk away. Because you deserve a woman who knows when to lay down her pride to protect the love you share. Never forget this. When the ego becomes the top priority, love is always the first casualty. Sign 7. She does not respect your time. Perhaps this is the quietest sign of all. But make no mistake, it is also one of the most dangerous. Because by the time you realize it, you may have already lost far too much of your most precious resource, your time. Time, the one thing no man can ever recover. You can earn back money. You can rebuild your health. But time once spent is gone forever. When a woman does not respect your time, it's not just about her being a few minutes late to a date. It's not just about her canceling plans at the last moment without notice. No, it's when she keeps you waiting in uncertainty, waiting for her to reply to your messages, waiting for her to rearrange her schedule to spend time with you, waiting for her to make a clear decision about the future of your relationship. And the real danger lies here, when she convinces you that your waiting is normal, that you need to be understanding, that you must be flexible because she is so busy, because she has so many things on her mind. So you start adjusting your life for her. You cancel your gatherings with friends. You put your personal passions on hold. Slowly, you start living around her unpredictable rhythm. But do you see what's really happening? The time you spend waiting for her is time you are trading away at the cost of your very life. Remember the words of Seneca, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And here's the truth. A woman who truly values you will treasure your time as if it were your very life. She will show up on time. She will keep her promises. She will never make you waste precious minutes wondering if you even matter to her. So what's the solution? It's not about getting angry. It's not about lecturing her. The solution is to respect your own time first. When you cherish every moment of your life, you will never allow anyone else to treat it lightly. You will choose to spend your time with someone who values you, who understands that the time you give is not an obligation, but the most priceless gift you could ever offer. And if she fails to see that, if she constantly leaves you waiting in vain, remember, wasted time is wasted life. You must walk away, not out of anger, but out of deep respect for yourself. Never forget this. A woman who disrespects your time will never truly respect you. And a wise man is one who invests his time in the people and the things that are truly worth it. Conclusion. My friend, if you stayed with me all the way to this point, I know one thing for certain: you are not an ordinary man. You are a man on a journey of elevation. A man who understands that true freedom begins with awareness. We've just uncovered the 7 unmistakable signs of a woman who may be silently eroding your peace of mind, your time, and your inner strength. And I want you to remember this. These signs are not random behaviors. They are reflections of her inner world. A mirror showing you exactly where you are investing your mind, your time, and your energy. This is not about judgment. It is not about bitterness. It is about choice. Because an awakened man knows you cannot save someone who refuses to save herself. You cannot teach someone to love if she has not first learned to respect the person standing before her. But you, my brother, you have the power to choose. You can choose a worthy companion, a woman who respects your time, recognizes your value, and does not manipulate love through guilt or drama. You can choose peace over chaos and exhaustion. You can choose to walk away from games that no one ever truly wins, and walk boldly toward a life of freedom, strength, and quiet pride. Burn this into your mind. True love will never make you lose yourself. It will make you become the best version of yourself. If a relationship forces you to abandon your core values, to sacrifice your freedom, and to surrender your self-respect, that is not love. That is a gilded prison, and you deserve far more than that. If what I've shared today has awakened something in you, if you see yourself in these stories, do this now. Hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel so you never miss another step on your journey to becoming an unshakable, awakened man. Comment below, "I choose freedom." Let me know you're ready. Ready to leave chaos behind, ready to embrace peace, ready to take command of your life. I am your companion on this journey, and I promise you, we are just getting started. See you in the next video.